It's show and tell on the Zach Martin Show.
First, I'll mention what we are. We're Spencer Drate, Judith Salavetz. We've designed for the famous in music, including 25 Rock Hall inductees in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We're in major collections, AIGA, MoMA, and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Archive Collection. We were nominated very prestigiously for the 2019 National Design Award, and that was a big one. And we've been designing and author of 21 pop culture books, and been on radio. And here we are with Zach, and we're really honored to be here, Zach, for another interview.
Judith,
we've been designing, and we've been having a blast. Party.
Judith, partying. Judith, who is this Spencer Drate cat? Who is this guy? How would you describe Spencer?
I don't know. You're right using that word cat, because I picked him up straying in the street. Stray cat.
Stray cat. All right. I like that, Judith.
We were talking yesterday about how Spencer is really good at emails at 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning, right up until about 10 o'clock at night.
Wait,
but
Zach?
Don't call him at 8:45. He's sleeping.
Zach, he's lightened up on that. Lightened up. When I first met him, it was 24/7, and there were no texts. No texting. There was telephone calls 24/7.
Yeah, you're right.
Well,
but guess what? It got the job done. He was he was so focused, and he wanted everybody else to be just as focused. He wanted everybody else. When he was working on a project, it was like 24/7 the project, and he wanted everybody else to be 24/7 on the project.
Fair enough, because that is like what they call I'm in a war right now, or I'm in the middle of the battle. I need all my soldiers. I need all the the equipment. It's got to be there. We got to fight this until it's over. No, that's a good way to be. It's a good work ethic.
No, it was. I'm so grateful to in retrospect, I'm grateful to him because he sort of kept me on track, and he kept me focused because I have a little bit of ADD, so he kept me like we were, when it was whatever it was we were working on, I'd get sidetracked and I'd start doing my own paintings and drawing, whatever. But Spencer always brought me back. So I'm really grateful for him for doing that. Of course, a lot of other people were a little bit like, Spencer, you call it's 4 a.m. Do you know what time it is?
But I gotta come in here because the other part of it, the other side of it, is Judith kept me together. So I call her my design glue. And when we did a project, she was so smart. She always is smart, and I got to tell you, she's a great typographer. And I'm really good. Yourself. And I think both of us are really good at typography. That's a strength of good design. You have to be good at typography, and most designers really aren't. If you really, so we're very blessed to be in that category.
Well, I appreciate how you guys keep it almost. I hate to use the word simplistic, but very easy to get.
Use it.
I like minimalist kind of things. I like it short and sweet. That's what I like about art. That's what I like about your art. That's what I like about the design. There's always something new to find, even though.
That's right.
It's simple, and what we love is true beauty is undeniable, and simplicity is a beauty. So that's true. A good combination.
That's exactly right. You'll see most of our covers are like that. Our covers, right, Judith, are very simplistic. And I always use the term Japanese because they were very simplistic in their structure. So, we're blessed to have that. But I think we should start. I'll go into some of the books we're in that you should know about. This book called Album Art, New Music Graphics, which came out last year, has an interview with us in the book. with Stefan Sagmeister, Art Chantry, Paula Scher. Great designers are interviewed. We're in there. And John wrote this. I love this, Judith. He wrote, making them the undisputed first couple of album cover design.
I just said I like that. I like it. I mean, the first couple of music design. We were very Spencer and I were just very lucky that the fates brought us together, and that, after that, the chemistry was remarkable, and it was the creative chemistry was really, we didn't really realize it at the time when we were working on all these, musicians, covers and logos and posters, Velvet Underground and, and Bon Jovi and, we just didn't realize what, we didn't realize it. We just did our work, and we were so happy to be able to have our creative outlet, and to have it appreciated. It's kind of sad that we, the people in the world of design today don't have that same opportunity to design in the world of music, to design 12-inch covers. It's made a comeback, but it's nothing like it was.
I guess after so many years, people forget about the craft, so then they have to rely on the masters, which are you two. And there's going to be somebody, as the vinyl industry starts to expand. It's already $1 billion industry. I don't think it's going to go anywhere anytime soon, because the value of the art that comes along with the music, it can make or break a song. It could actually make or break the album at this point. And I think people want more than just something that is not really tangible, invisible. I mean, yeah, you can own the MP3, but is it really something you can hold? And one thing about music, especially if you truly love whatever the genre is, if you could put it on vinyl and you can read the album and look at the artwork while you're listening, it's like eating cereal and reading the box. It goes hand in hand. It's
I was a Grammy judge, very honored for 7 times, which is a lot. People tell me I was the most ever selected for 7. But the point is that I saw a lot of packaging through those years. Recently, being a judge, I noticed that vinyl entries were amazing. Now, this is what I want to say. A lot of these packages are very intricate. I mean, they were a lot of money. I mean, a group called The National is always designed with Pentagram in New York, and they would have die cuts and things like that. So there is a part of it that has a very good economic structure of developing. And then you get the other side, which is Judith is talking about, which is more of a low end or nominal economic structure in vinyl. So, but people don't, there's a lot of those covers. It's very interesting. There's money there. It's a matter of being connected to the record company, what they're working on, stuff like that.
Let's focus on some of the books that you have and some of the designs, the 100 best album covers.
Yeah, this is a great book.
We'll look at some of the pictures.
Yeah, Storm Thorgerson. And I'm actually mentioned in the Fear of Music section, the process of design. That's what's great about this book. But
I think I interviewed Storm about that book. That's
you did?
It goes back up. Well, yeah, it was Midtown Manhattan, and I think one of the guitar players from the Allman Brothers was there. I forget who it was. It was like,
wow,
how do you play guitar? It was really good in it.
Yeah,
really
he's good, you should know. I knew Storm. I used to talk to him once in a while. We bid in his books, our Joan Jett covers in one of his books. And also here I'm credited with Jerry Harrison, which is great. I mean, I'm actually design credited with Jerry Harrison. And Storm does a lot of research when he put this book together. But the covers are phenomenal. I mean,
oh yeah, that little boy over there.
Jim, look at the Nirvana cover. You like that one, baby?
Yeah, well, he's in his 30s now. Kid's in his 30s.
Yeah.
They did a remake with the same kid. I think the album. I don't want to see that album, but
Here we go.
All right, that is. Explain what that is. Is that from the jacket?
Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
Oh,
Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
Yeah, it's hard to see.
Yeah, I thought that was the album insert for the Fear of Music for a second. You know, that X-ray thing that Jerry.
But this book is really a great book to have. I really think it's one of the better. But the album series that Roger Dean and Aubrey Powell put together, 6-volume set, and I'm actually in the second part of it with special packaging. That's an amazing set of books. The first book that we did. The light here is crazy. 45 RPM.
Oh, that we can see it.
Yeah, 45 RPM set the whole mode. This was the first book ever done on the history of 7-inch in 1992. And it got us to get to it sold out. So it got to the bridge of the 545s in 2010. So that's basically the books I wanted to show. But we've been in a lot of major books, Judith and I.
And magazines.
And magazines and TV and radio and blah, blah, blah.
All right. Let's go through the process of how you, meaning you, the both of you, how does the process work designing a cover? Now, do you know the song first or they don't tell you?
Yeah, this is, we always listen to the music so we get the feel of what we're working on. Right, Judith? I mean, I think it's people who don't do that don't get it. I mean, you've got to do that. It's like a Seinfeld thing. Hello, you've got to listen to the music. I mean, to get the feel of what you're going to be working on as a designer. So that's a big thing, you know.
And if it's a really bad song, you think to yourself, I'm better knock this cover out of the ballpark so it sells.
Well, the other thing is this: if we were working for a big label, like I told you the Billy Squier story, I mean, they would want me to come down to the record company, listen to a cassette at 12 o'clock at night, like Billy Squier, and listen to it. The record companies wanted you to hear it first, by the way. So it's a process that's just relative, even when you're getting away from the record company and you're working for an independent project. You want to do that. This is a normal thing, you know.
All right, then what's the next part of the process, Judith?
Yeah, just to add to the previous question, it's not, each project, each album cover or each art project that we were handed was different. There were never two that were alike. So it wasn't that we had to listen to the music as a foundation each and every time, because it depended on who our client was. There were some musicians that wanted to be, right next to you as you're designing 24/7. They wanted to stand next to you. They wanted to have input. And then there were those musicians that just trusted us 100% to do whatever we wanted to do. So even if, we didn't listen to absolutely every cover that the music for every cover that we did, but we always tried to listen, thinking that would somehow help us in coming up with whatever was going to go.
Yeah, I mean, before I met Judith, working on my own covers, before I met the wonderful Judith, I really listened to it. It was like music was always there. But Judith, most of our stuff we listened to the music.
Yeah, we did. But then it didn't always make a difference, because if we had a very aggressive manager or an aggressive record company that wanted it something their way, we were like up against a wall. It didn't matter.
Yeah, but I'll tell you something that's very interesting. Just brought up. We really created ourselves. Seriously. I mean, if you think of all the covers we did, and I have a stack here, all those covers we really created. We didn't have people saying, well, do that. Seriously. They might have brought up an idea.
Yeah. Except with the Beach Boys. The Beach Boys, wait a minute. No, but they brought their art to us.
Oh yeah, they brought their art to us, but the art was beautiful, and we ended up using it into a really good design.
Right.
So yeah, but that's different. That's not like someone saying, well, I want the type over there and I want the picture. I mean, I don't remember my own life ever having that. Like at Sire, they just gave it to me. They just said, "Do it."
Well, no, because in the old days, we didn't really have much of a choice as to where we were going to put the type. Everybody wanted the type at the top of the album cover because that's where you saw it when it was in the bins.
Well,
right?
There's a and a lot of our covers have that, but they're very nice. By the way, they're really good covers. So
I will tell you, back in college, I remember taking a couple of journalism courses. It was part of, I guess, one of those mandatory things. Either some boring English lit or you take some journalism course. And at one point we go, upper right side is where, the eye goes first. Right. And I'm going to use an example of an album that's one of my favorite designs, not necessarily the favorite songs on it, but I love the design in this album. And, if we have to continue the conversation while Spencer goes and finds it, then we will. But the Marshall Crenshaw album. You have that one on you?
Oh yeah.
Well, let's start off with our covers. I mean, since you brought in so wonderful.
Okay. How did he know I was going to bring that up?
So anyway, this was in 1982 for Warner Brothers Records, and I started this cover. This is how it goes. I literally completed the cover, but the front cover type, I had a real problem because if you look at it, it's not that easy. You have to pick a color for that front cover type, or else the whole thing is killed totally. And it wasn't, I thought, well, the yellow, no, any shade of yellow would make it. There's but Judith, I met Judith. So I bring Judith up, like panicking, up to my studio, and she looks at it and she picked this blue. And the blue was incredible. This is what makes the cover. And it really does. And the rest was just, I mean, the back is really nice too, but that's simple. Black type.
Fold it out so I could see the whole. I want to see it all together. Open it up.
It doesn't open up. It's like you go from front to back.
It doesn't?
No.
I don't know why. I don't know why I thought it opened up. I must have read it. I must have read it in a book or something.
But these
that was a different cover.
By the way, these are beautiful painting. Let me describe this. Beautiful painting by Christine Delancia, and she had an oil-based paint, which makes this very different because Judith knows in watercolor you don't have an oil-based paint, and that's what makes the color, reproducing so vibrant, even in printing it. Another generation.
It's a thick paint spill, and it's done. I guess they shaped it.
And also, this won an AI. This is won an AIGA cover award, voted in by Roger Black and Annie Leibovitz. Huge, and then it's in the AIGA archival collection and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame archival collection.
Well, it's interesting in that you have the photo of Marshall Crenshaw, which I'm guessing it somehow along with the shadow, and he's holding his glasses. He's got like hey, Judith, I'll tell you what, why don't you tell us what colors everything are? Because when it comes to colors, men will always go, yellow's yellow, red is red, pink is pink, and blue is blue.
Oh, really? Well,
so you have to give us a little bit more of a description. Like that jacket, is that burgundy?
Well, you'll have to forgive me because I'm wearing dark glasses and my vision isn't as good as it used to be.
You're not going to see it that clear.
Yes, it is, but there are shades, there are hues. I don't. It was such a long time ago, Zach, that we did that.
Well, let me tell you.
Right,
I'll tell you what.
I got it over here. This is.
No, I'll give you the answer to this. I'll give you the answer to this. It's a light blue, Zach. It's a light blue in the dark blue background. So that light blue match was perfect. Judith picked a perfect PMS color to match.
What else? What other goodies you got over
there?
Here, I don't want to monopolize all of this.
I'm going in a chronological order. So the second album is Joan Jett, 1983 Blackheart MCA. So this is a classic, Judith. You know this. This is no type on the front. Put a clear sticker on the shrink wrap. And Kenny said put a lot of pictures in it, which is classic. So that's the front. And I surrounded the black and white photograph with color. I thought that was really cool. And then as we open it up, we have
I like that. See, I love
a Mick Rock color photo on the left panel with black and white live shots around it. I thought it'd be good to encase the color with black and white around it. Gave it kind of like nice. Otherwise, it's going to get lost. If all the colors all over the place, it's going to get crazy, you know. So there's a nice play of that. And on the other side, as Judith knows, we picked out a lot of travel photos of the band and a montage, you know. And so this cover was in a traveling Who Shot Rock and Roll show. It's in the archive collection. An award winner. It's probably one of the best rock. Dieter Zill. Wait a minute. Let me finish. Dieter Zill did the photograph on the front, and I have to give him credit here. And what were you going to say, Judith?
No, I was going to say the same thing. That Dieter Zill did that amazing photograph, and I don't know if you could see as Spencer is holding it, but what we remember, Spencer, what we did to the image of her was she was laminated, and then the rest, the yellow, was matte.
Right. Oh yeah. Okay.
So
Very good.
Yeah,
that's important. They called it a spot lamb, matte finish.
Yeah.
So we spot. You're right. That's a good point. We spot lamb the picture of her, and she's on a matte, like yellowish tint.
Yeah.
You know.
So almost to make it almost like as much of a 3D as we possibly could make it.
Yeah. Really, you know what actually makes the whole photo is her hair blowing. Is really a cool effect.
Yeah.
I also like this black white Robert Ellis shot in the back of them in the trailer. That's a very nice shot, and the songs were tastefully done in one line at the top, and again surrounded by color live shots. Ron Akiyama did some of that. You know.
What people might not realize is that picture by the trailer is really basically what you get backstage. It's not like this Shangri-La back there. It's sparse. They're in a trailer. The dressing rooms are usually, you know, not much to look at. And if you go meet the guys, you're lucky if you get a bottle of water, right? And you might get some, you know, the only backstage event that I can think of off the top of my head that really just made me go, huh, interesting, was when I was at Madison Square Garden and I hung out with Neil Young. I was a big time Neil Young fan.
Wow.
And I'm looking at him and he's got a bowl of granola and yogurt and fruit. I'm like, yeah, I went, you eat too healthy. I got to leave. So all right, so let's look at this one. This is a famous cover. I think every rock and roller from the 80s had to have this. Every rock station had various copies of that because it was hotter than pepper pudding. And we played the hell out of it. That would be Bon Jovi. And
this starts off with Judith had a great idea. The Bon Jovi at the top, you have to really see it close up, has like a background coming through it. Remember that, Judith? And then and then she put the famous diamond. Now this is interesting. Judith started a whole thing. Yeah, the diamond in the middle. Wait a minute. Let me finish the story. The diamond in the middle of Bon Jovi, that's letter space. Right. That diamond has carried on to other logos after. Her idea of that diamond. They took it away.
It became a logo, so to speak.
Yeah. So this is let me finish the story. So this is a spot lamb, like Judith said, matte finish that wraps around, shot by Jeffrey Thomas, and a beautiful job of color tinting this photograph. And in the back, ironic, is a truck that came in, Zach, by mistake, and the headlights shined right in the background like a rock and roll thing, and so that makes the cover kind of cool. And it was shot on Columbus Avenue. Columbus Avenue.
Yeah, no, it was Columbus Circle.
Columbus Circle, yeah.
That's before the AOL building, and there was a Coliseum there.
Right,
and
exactly.
Believe it or not, my friends who were with the transit police, that was their station, the same area.
Interesting.
So, that was cool. I used to visit that when I was at Q1043.
Yeah, this is
the Runaway, which is the title of that album. That was their debut single, Runaway. That became an amazing hit. That one, the single. It was played I forget the name of the radio station that actually made it a hit. And the radio station today is WKTU, but I don't know what it was called.
I gotta tell you
New
the
York
story.
Apple. That's what
I
it was.
I gotta
New
tell
York's
you.
Apple.
I got to tell you the story about that. And Judith knows it. John came in to the office playing with Justin, her son, who's about, I don't know, 5 or something.
Well, you saw him, you know?
Yeah. And then,
3 years old.
Let me finish the story. So he plays the cassette in there, and Judith comes out. Hey, John left. And Judith says to me right away, says, Spencer is going to sell 1 million. And you know what I went? I went, yeah, right. Like, I had no idea that single, because it was such a rinky-dink single to me. It was like, she's a little runaway, da-da-da-da-da. But look what happened. It went monster.
Yeah. Now, with that album, how much direction did John Bon Jovi give?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Zero. I'm telling you, Zach, you don't believe us.
No, he didn't.
No, he left, and that was it. We never saw him again.
No, no, that's not true. We used to see him occasionally. He would drop by because he wanted to be. I mean, this was his first.
But he never. I don't remember saying anything negative.
No, he never said anything.
I don't remember him. It's like I don't remember him there.
Yeah,
honestly, he's always a nice guy.
He is.
I've never had, one of the nicest people.
Absolutely great. Yes.
And you know something, what I like about him, what I appreciate about John, is that he has Soul Kitchen in Red Bank, New Jersey, and I think another location.
Right, the soup kitchen.
Where you pay based on what you can afford, and he helps feed the poor. I mean, come on.
He's a good guy.
What we should all be doing.
And the other thing I liked about him, as you follow his career, is that he never had any scandal. He was never negative in the newspapers. He was dedicated to his wife. I mean, that's a big thing. I mean, the other lead singers were all over the place.
He was like almost an all-American Jersey kid, right?
Yeah, you're right. Exactly. Wow.
So his parents raised him right. He had good work ethic. I mean, you can't. All right, there's a great album right there.
Judith, you're going to love this one. Judith had to play on
German band, Victory.
Victory, Friends of the Scorpions.
Friends of the Scorpions.
A CBS album. 1985. Judith, go ahead on this one.
Yeah, please do.
I just, it was the music, seemed to fit the image. I thought, it had to be, rock, sex. There's no drugs, but sex and rock and roll. So, what could be, it's a V. I don't know. The idea came to me. I don't know where it came from.
Finish this story. So Jeffrey Thomas shot it again, our friend Jeffrey Thomas, and he had a Helmut Newton-esque, as you see, type style. So the black and white is almost like a Helmut Newton photo. And then I put the type in like a la Led Zeppelin letter space type across. And the interesting thing is the album almost didn't get printed because CBS had a very big censorship thing. And they almost didn't print the cover. The real story is they almost didn't print it, but they did eventually.
Oh, this is great.
The Fabulous Thunderbirds.
Yeah.
So that album went multi-platinum. And I got to tell you this story. It's a great story. So Jimmy Vaughn comes in the office, shows me this picture. And then I don't hear from him. And then 3 days later, he calls me up to CBS and says, Spencer, I'm going into the meeting. What should I tell them? I said, do you have the picture? And I knew from my mind they were going to do a picture of the group on the front. It's the first album. I said, I don't want this. This is the art. This has got to. So I tell them, go in and tell them, not ask them, not even ask them. I said, tell them that's the cover. I get a call about 3 hours later from Pat Clifford, an A&R guy, and he said, Spencer, you're going to get fired. Well, 3 days later, they did it. It became the album cover. And on the back is the pictures of the group with the song stack. Big deal,
Which is what they wanted on the front, which was boring.
Right, boring.
And I remember playing that on 45 back when we used, turntables with the little hooky dookie in the middle, that little thing.
Oh, yeah, right, yeah.
All right, D.D. King. All right.
So let me tell you a little bit of the story. I got to start off with this.
That's a pretty cool cover. I like the pink and the block
so,
lettering, whatever.
Zach, let me tell you about this. Bob Gruen calls me up, and he really liked our work. I could tell because why would Bob call me up? And he said, I want you and Judith to go over. Would you like to do the cover of Dee Dee and go to the Chelsea Hotel? That's how it starts. And all these photographs were Bob Gruen. So he decided, he sends me all these photographs. He said, well, I'm going to put all of them on, front and back. We're going to put all of them on. And Judith did the logo design with a great artist named Pat Kernan, who did a lot of stuff with us at CBS, by the way, FM radio, and our special invite cards. So Pat did the logo with Judith on the top, and this is what the cover is. But I would get things like, the album sucks, but buy it for the cover. You know, that's what.
Yeah, no, the album was considered, I think, one of the biggest failures in music history. That's what I read somewhere, and I go, oh, but you know, the picture is nice.
But you know what I love, Zach. I love the use of a lot of photographs. You see, this is unusual, using a lot of, but it worked on this cover really good. I mean, Bob was a great photographer, and this was like a no-brainer, you know.
Oh, all right, Lou Reed.
Now we're going into the grit. So this. Let me tell you the intro to this. Waring Abbott calls me up and says that Lou wants a portfolio. And it was nice of him to do that. I used to give Waring some jobs, by the way. And so we sent the portfolio down, and next thing we know, in the office pops Sylvia Reed, right? And so we worked with her on two, you'll see 2 albums in a row.
Well, Spencer, you didn't mention who Sylvia Reed was at the time.
Well, Sylvia Reed,
she was married
obviously
to Lou.
Was married to Lou. She always said she never got the credit of being a creative person because she was Lou's wife. But she turned out to be an incredible, and by the way, one of our best friends right now. You know that, Judith.
Right.
Great creative person, wonderful
Love
person.
You, Sylvia.
Front cover is based on a 1930s photograph of some photographer, and it's called Men in an Alley. It's just called Men in an Alley. So Lou took that concept and created a group of men dressed, obviously dressed in different ways, and that becomes the cover. The back cover is very simple. It's just type on a wall. But the front cover is the big thing. And I decided to use type at the top that was not solid, so you could see through the type, if you notice. Outline type. I thought that was a good idea, so that the wall would come through, and that. And so anyway, that's this album signed to Sire Records. Seymour Stein signed Lou to that. You know that, Zach. So it was a big turnaround for him. And by the way, we're mentioning the Anthony DeCurtis Lou Reed Life book. Zach, we're mentioning that.
Oh, that's good. Hey, would you mind telling us some of the tracks in that album while you have it in front of you like that?
Yeah, we got Romeo and Juliet, Halloween Parade, Dirty Boulevard, my favorite.
Dirty Boulevard, my favorite Lou Reed song.
Yeah.
I love this.
Endless Cycle, There Is No Time, Last Great American Whale, Beginning of a Great Adventure, Side 2, Busload of Faith, Sick of You, Hold On, Good Evening, Mr. Waldheim, Xmas in February, Straw Man, and Dime Store Mystery.
Oh, great. I love it, Zach. I'm right there
so
with
here, you. Let's talk about the last cover on this series. And by the way, the last cover was in 1989 with Sire Records. This is in 1991 with Sire Records. It starts off with Louis Jamais photograph given to us in the front. Alchemy symbols were adapted to each song, which was put together with Judith and Sylvia. And basically, it's a very simple cover, black and white, minimal color. And one thing we did with Lou is a black and white person type designing for, not color to me. He was very dark. He had this whole, Zach, he was very like gritty. So we would get into the black and white area with him. The back is very simple. It's nothing really to show, but the front cover is really cool, I thought. Symbols are in the corners, and the great photograph in the center by Louis Jamais. That's amazing, right, Judith? That photograph.
Oh, yeah. And those symbols, actually, I'm sorry, I can't.
Tell a story.
I can't tell you, what the meanings of the symbols are at this point. My mind is kind of melted since those days. But there's actual, like Sylvia and I actually researched the symbols, and each there was a reason to each symbol. There's one in each corner, and what I did actually is when he went on tour with that album, they had me paint the glass slides that where they projected when he was on stage, they had me paint the symbols onto the black slides. So they projected those symbols like they would be projected like 40 feet long, on stage as he's performing. Not behind him. Well, some of it was behind him, some of it was on the stage floor. And I have to tell you that it was I don't know how I did it when I look back, because I had to use this very, 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 very toxic paint, because, the heat from the lights that were projecting, melts any kind of real paint. So I think I might someday attribute my death to painting the Lou Reed slides.
I want to say something, that all these covers that I'm showing are in the archival collection, and they're also in the Art of Cover vinyl show, which we have on YouTube, which Zach was did a nice thing of doing the voiceover on, and we're very happy about that, and did a great job.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, and a big thank you. And this is a part of our life. So this is the second interview. The first interview, I call it the Designing for Music series, was just on my work. This is Judith and me together, our work. And the third and fourth will be 21 covers we have selected from the cover show that we think are very dynamic album covers in a 2 interview series, which you'll see later.